Audio Slice of Sin number 3. Beowulf and the God of Strength. Yeah, try my best here, guys. Hello, hunters. Okay. Days after the events of F8, America's CCC is now smoothly running under the operation of strategy specialist Virgil Pentagon, and it shall soon undergo its first major mission: securing the Great North. With Dracula's reincarnation and the strongest corrupted Diamond Dynamite turning their backs on the country, this has left a major void in America's military might. To add even more stress to the matters, enemies lurk at every corner, meaning there was no time to hold anything back. Luckily, though, even if unintentionally, Agent Canada showed them the way forward. After having his life spared by Dracula's reincarnation, the druid took his wife and children back to the Great North with him. Naturally, Pentagon had already surgically implanted trackers in Canada's 7 children, meaning the location of the Great North was no longer hidden to America. Now an infiltration team just needed to be formed. Combat Specialist Nico, Defense Specialist Castillo, Supreme Specialist Indiana. To my knowledge, you all are the only people with the ability to enter the North freely. As such, you'll be the team going on this mission. You have 3 goals: secure Agent Canada, establish a relationship with the leader of the Great North, the God of Strength, and locate the world-ending corrupted contained in ice. Sounds like too much work. Send a different third. I don't feel like it. Nico stood up to leave, only to have his path blocked by Costello. Thinking you can avoid work just because you'd rather laze around. What are you, a specialist or a child? Sit down now. Costello stood in his way, looking up at the taller specialist, waiting for a retreat that would never come. Both of you, return to your chairs so we can finish the meeting briefly. Indiana spoke so matter-of-factly, like a father handling his children. Of course, Castillo listened. He was Indiana's student. But Nico just got pissed off. In fact, most things about Indiana pissed him off. He still wasn't used to this new world around him, and how ridiculous everything is. How could he be? He joined Hunter Society 6 months ago. Before that, he was just a young up-and-coming fighter in the world of MMA. Life was simple. Vibe, fight, break, win, repeat. But now it's capturing monsters, fighting freaks, and everyone telling him what he is. A Beowulf. What the fuck is even a Beowulf? And why is this old man getting so much hype because of it? The strongest in America. You do realize that's bullshit, right? Or do you actually love the taste of your dick? There's 2 younger versions of you in this room. I mean, we're all Beowulfs, right? But we're young, and you're a dusty, one-eyed old fuck with a stick up his ass. So why are you acting like you're the strongest one here? I'd snap your brittle bones right now if I didn't respect my elders. So respectfully, fuck you. I don't feel like working. I'm tired of bullshit, and my vibe is all the way off. Nico spit out his insults and grabbed Indiana by the tie, lifting him from his seat. And yet, despite his provocations, the Supreme Specialist was unbothered. He looked at Nico the same way a teacher looked at a troublesome child. Then he touched Nico's hand and broke his grip with some effort. No one ever broke his grip with brute force before. You're still new to matters like this, so I'll forgive you today and we can handle this later. Personal grievances between co-workers are to be handled on one's own time. Choose a time and place after our mission is complete. We can settle this matter as adults. Until then, return to your chair. We have work to do. Most of the time, when Indiana spoke, everyone listened. But Nico was different. Time and place, huh? And I choose here and now. Nico lunged in, headbutting Indiana and staring him nose to nose. Agent Cuba was the first Beowulf to move, drawing a punch at Nicaragua, only to have his fist caught by Indiana. Cuba, I'll handle this. If I don't, this will become a reoccurring issue. After receiving the orders, Cuba folded his arms and began observing, while Pentagon pulled out a notepad and started writing something down. While he'd prefer to avoid unnecessary distractions, a fight like this was actually a great opportunity to properly analyze the strength of the new combatant specialist, Agent Nicaragua. Unlike Indiana, who had decades under his belt, and Cuba, who's been active for 12 years, Nico has only recently been discovered, and F8 was his first time fighting any form of war-wild opponent. Just how strong is the youngest Beowulf of the youngest of the modern age? Pentagon pondered as Nico finally made his move. The floor cracked beneath his feet as he lunged forward. There was nothing fancy, no trick, the obvious intentions showcased purely for all to see. Indiana stood still until the last possible second, then he delivered a liver jab. Nico doubled over in pain, a burning sensation spreading up his body before dropping him to his knees and making him lose his lunge. It was a perfect hit, one which takes all the fight out of a normal man. But Nico isn't a normal man. He is a Beowulf. Fucker! Nico performed a picture-perfect Imari roll from his kneeling position, grabbing hold of Indiana's heel and twisting it with a vile intent. Then, to his shock, the heel didn't snap or pop. Compared to those he fought during his MMA career, Indiana felt like he was made of something impossibly hard. I can't let him catch me with a counter, Nico thought as he released a hold and retreated to the other side of the meeting room. Then, for the first time in this fight, Indiana started to advance instead of react. His speed stunned Nico, who barely managed to raise a guard to block a single punch. Having so much experience breaking bones, he immediately recognized the sounds of a hairline fracture. No one had ever broken one of his bones before. That alone told him this old man was not someone to trade punches with. But there was still one thing Nico had full confidence in: grip strength. He felt it earlier. During the heel hook, the old man can't outmuscle him at full throttle. Nico braced himself as he went in with an obvious strike. Indiana, of course, punished, landing a stiff jab right to Nico's nose, shattering his face but letting him grip Indiana's wrist. Now it's my turn, old bitch! Indiana's one eye opened wide as pain overtook his form. Nico squeezed down on his wrist. His grip seemed to get tighter the more Nico started to feel his vibe. The fight finally in his favor. Time to break you. Nico lifted Indiana completely off the ground and started slamming him into the earth like a club. The pop of Indiana's shoulder dislocating after the third crash made Cuba want to interrupt the duel. But then, just before he could, Indiana swung to his feet and landed a deadly knee to Nico's kidney, putting an end to the scuffle and dropping Nico out cold. An hour passed before Nicaragua regained consciousness. He woke up to see the other three smoking casually, waiting for him to resume the meeting. Indiana had fully changed his clothes, and his hair was styled again. If someone had walked into the room right now, no one would even believe he was just in a fight. Fuck. Nico got to his knees, legs shaking, and considered walking out of this damn room. How would I lose? The question hung in his head for a while before he pulled out a smoke himself and lit up. Fine, you got it this time, but I'll snap your legs in the rematch, pussy. Nico then took a seat, a far side of the room, away from his teammates. Castillo still didn't like his tone, but Indiana stopped him from causing any further conflict. And with that, Pentagon finished his cigarette and returned to the briefing. The Beowulfs on the Great... Now that everyone has calmed down, allow me to explain all definitive information gathered on the Great North. Firstly, the entirety of the Great North resides within the Druid domain of the so-called God of Strength. Not only that, he's held ownership of this domain for at least 500 years, likely more. This, alongside other details, which will be shared later in this briefing, make this next statement fact. The God of Strength is the strongest druid to ever exist in this world's history. The size of a domain works in proportion to the power of its owner. Using historical examples from other powerful druids, the Great North should be the size of a large continent. But the unprecedented phenomenon of other separate druid domains manifesting within his domain tells me that the Great North must be larger than even that. A druid pond can only form in a yard, so I hypothesized the Great North to be equal to that of a lower yard in scale. Luckily, you all don't have to explore the entire region. Once inside, you'll be able to track Canada's young, to find him. Then Agent Canada can act as your guide in order to introduce you to the God of Strength. Pentagon paused in his speech to address Cuba. Yes, Castillo. Cuba stood at attention, despite him and Pentagon now officially being equals in rank. Cuba still saw Pentagon as a commanding officer. I apologize for the interruption, but I feel the need to ask. If the Great North is really as large as you suspect, shouldn't we be infiltrating with a larger squadron? Even with the trackers in Canada's children, the sheer amount of land mass we will need to cover will lead to delays, and Canada may not even be present or around his children. Meaning we could be delayed further by having to search for him. Respectfully, sir, I wish for these grievances to be spoken upon. After stating his piece, Cuba saluted and sat down, earning an eye roll from Nicaragua on the other side of the room. Pentagon flipped through a file on his presentation desk before passing it around to the three other men. I understand your concern. I wish we were able to bring in a larger fighting force, but as it stands, you three are the only ones capable of passing through the domain. Domains have rules set by their druids, including rules for entry and exit. One of the rules of the Great North is that only those with northern blood can pass through the domain. Unfortunately, Canada is the only being of recent history to leave the North, but if we look to the past, there was one other man, Sir Beowulf. Legend says he left his homeland in order to find a weapon worthy of himself and become a proper warrior. The homeland Beowulf left 400 years ago was the Great North. As his descendants, you should all be able to enter it, thus making you the only beings in America capable of completing this mission. All three Beowulfs paused in their chairs, especially Nico, who's Nico, the one who knows the least about Beowulf. He had only been listening to the briefing partially, but now he shot up to his feet. Does that mean I have family there? His question came out more desperate than he wanted, but that didn't matter right now. He just wanted to know the answer. Now, we leave this meeting room to travel to the land of war, the land of the strong, the land trapped in time where none other than the god of strength rules. Shall we head to the Great North with Agent Canada? A beaten and wounded Agent Canada, or as he's known in his homeland, Arnod, Beast of the Skies, limps his way into the Chamber of Fury and stands before God. In the Great North, there are no social classes beyond strong and God. So one doesn't have to request to meet God, nor do they even have to show God respect. But they must be strong enough if they wish to endure his gaze. It was instant, a pain he had survived before when he fought for the right to journey into the land of the weak. Hundreds, maybe even thousands of pounds being piled upon his back. The simple effect of being stared at by the embodiment of strength. Many lesser men have found themselves crushed by the sheer weight of this stare. Yet even in this dire state, Arnod persisted, and God smiled. Good. The commodities of the weaker world haven't spoiled your flavor. I can tell from your blood-covered flesh and torn muscles you're still delicious. My apologies. I'm drooling over the thought of eating you whole, and this is meant to be a moment of grieving for your shattered destiny. After all, you've returned alive. That can only mean you've killed Dracula in your duel. A true tragedy, but as to be expected. The outside world is soft, weak, and pitiful. Once again, the outside world proves to only produce disappointment. I was hoping the so-called Red King would be a banquet of a battle. In the end, Dracula was just another weak mortal. Arnon's blood dripped onto the ground as God laughed at the world which bested him. The world which he had spent years in now. One which he fought battles in and found many of worthy foe. The yards are weak, that is true. But after years living among them, I know there are individuals who inhabit those yards with powers and abilities beyond some of the elders of the North. His mind went to many great warriors he encountered during his time away. Indiana, the man who showed him what the legend of Beowulf truly is. Pentagon, someone he could never imagine being defeated by anything less than a god. Diamond Dynamite, the first and only corrupted to ever best him. And of course, Vlad. He who denied him death. He who will destroy the world. None of them are weak, and yet all were born in the lesser world. Born in the weaker world. Arnin readied his axes. In the great north, combat is the only true language. God licked his lips in anticipation. How strange. One lonesome as you, fighting for the honors of others? These outsiders must have left a mark on you. But stop. As fun as it would be, you are a disgrace to destiny. You don't deserve to be killed by me. You shall pass with the rest of the week when the world is destroyed. And I'll have you know, whoever you met, no matter how strong they appear, they are an embarrassment to the myths which once ruled that world. Had you gone on your journey 300 years ago, then you would have found real warriors. Now begin! Arnin froze in place as God gripped his skull. He knew what this was. He'd gone through it himself and had witnessed many others experience the vision of the end. Druids know who killed them. They learn the person at some point in their lifespan. They learn the identity of the one who will end them. The god of strength, despite his immense power, is no different. He, too, is chained by destiny. After the shaking and screaming stops, Arnin looks at God in amazement, silently grateful to have seen this with his own eyes. How shocking! I suppose even a deity can't defy fate. After centuries of waiting, my killer has been chosen. What a glorious day! We must hold a countrywide celebration of my future demise. And then, after the drinking and fucking, I'll wait for her here on my throne. Calypso. Let our battle be legendary. Oh, and Arnin, spread this message to all clans within the domain. God's killer has been chosen, but she is from the lesser world. We will wait for her. Should she kill me, it'll be the end of the North. But if I survive, we'll invade the outside world and kill all of them in exchange for disappointing God.